Good morning, students. Welcome to another class on English Studies for JS1. Today we'll be talking about punctuation. We've been talking about essay writing, how to write descriptive essay, narrative essay, expository essay. Remember, when you're writing, you have to punctuate. So we want to talk about some of these marks that we use to write our essays, so that it can enable the reader to read and understand. So we'll be talking about some of these marks we use in writing essays that are called punctuation marks, and also their uses. At the end of this lesson, we should be able to explain punctuation, mention some punctuation marks and their uses, and then also differentiate between the colon and the semicolon. Now, when we write, we have to use some marks that will make the reader know that he or she has gotten to the end of a sentence, or he or she should take a pause, or that something was said directly by another person. All of these marks have names. So when we use this mark, we are actually punctuating. So punctuation is the use of punctuation marks in a written text to assist the reader in grasping its meaning, or to add fluency, or to indicate some aspect of pronunciation. So when you use punctuation marks, that means you are punctuating. And you must use punctuation marks so that it can help your reader to understand what you have written. So we are going to see some types of punctuation marks and their uses. Now, the first and one of the most important punctuation mark is the full stop. The full stop is also called a period, and that is the mark of the full stop there. You can see it in brackets. That is the full stop. It is called a terminal mark. We call it a terminal mark because it is used to end a sentence. And the kind of sentence that a full stop is used to end is a declarative sentence. That means a sentence that states a fact, a sentence that says something. So the full stop is used to end a declarative statement or a declarative sentence. Now, it is called a terminal mark. I have said it before, there are 3 terminal marks, and the full stop is one of those terminal marks. Examples of declarative sentences I have here that I have ended with a full stop include: I am hungry. I am hungry. The Titanic sank in the North Atlantic Ocean in 1912. A word is enough for the wise. Now, if you look at those sentences, you would notice that at the end of each sentence, there is a full stop. I've always said that when you write, maybe you're writing an essay, always end your sentence with a full stop, and then the next sentence should begin with a capital letter. That is one function of the full stop. It is used to end a declarative sentence. It is not used to end a question, okay? It is used to end a declarative sentence. That means a sentence that you use to give information. A sentence that you use to express yourself, like I am hungry, is a declarative sentence. A word is enough for the wise is a declarative sentence. The full stop is also used to mark an abbreviation. An abbreviation is when you just pick the first letters of some words and then you put it together to mean the whole word. That is an abbreviation. So a full stop is used to mark an abbreviation. Example, I have PhD. PhD. I have BA, MSc, MR, MRS. All of these are complete words, but we decided to shorten them. That means abbreviate them. So when you decide to shorten a word, a long word, and then you write it by picking some letters from that word, by abbreviating those words, you use the full stop. Now remember that you don't just abbreviate words. Make sure you use abbreviated words that are widely known. words that have abbreviated and everybody knows. Not when you're writing an essay and you feel, oh, this word is too long, let me just abbreviate it, and you do it yourself. No, make sure you use abbreviations that have been introduced and it is known. So we have the PhD, BA, MSc. This MR is Mr., MRS is Mrs., MSc, Master of Science, Bachelor of Art, and so on. So that is how you use full stop in abbreviating. You use the dot after each letter that represents a whole word. Now another type of punctuation mark is the comma. The comma, and this is how it is written. The comma is written this way. The comma helps you to divide a sentence into smaller units of meaning. So you can divide a sentence into phrases and clauses so as to make it easier to grasp its meaning when you are reading. Commas replace the pause we make in speech. When you're talking, when you make a pause, when you want to write what you have said, that place that there was a pause, we introduce comma to make the reader know that there was a pause there. So the comma helps you to divide a sentence. Let me explain that. Remember that a sentence ends with a full stop, and a sentence is a group of words that express complete thought. So you can divide your sentence into smaller units, and then you have maybe two phrases or two clauses making up one sentence. So when you divide your sentence, your sentence into units by making it clauses or phrases, you use the comma to make the reader know that there is a pause there. And then when the sentence ends, you use the full stop. When the sentence ends, you use the full stop. But when you break the sentence or divide the sentence into units, you use the comma. It helps the reader to know that there was a pause or there was a break there while you were saying or writing what you have written. Now the comma is used to separate words in a list or items in a list or group of words. For example, if I say, I bought pepper, tomato, fish, oil, and some fruit from the market. I bought pepper, tomatoes, fish, oil, and some fruit from the market. Now, I have listed those things I bought. I am going to use comma to make the reader know that all of these things I bought are different. It is not just one. The pepper is not the tomato is not the fish, neither is the fish the oil or the fruit. So they are different things. So since I have listed some items, I will use the comma to separate these items from the other items. So I bought pepper, comma, tomatoes, comma, fish, comma, oil. Now after oil, there is no comma because I have used a conjunction there. And I have used a conjunction and, so there is no point using the comma again. So I used and, so I didn't use comma because and is already there as a conjunction. Remember that conjunction joins two words or phrases together. So I've already used and to join the fruit to other items on the list. So there is no point using the comma. So I bought pepper, tomatoes, fish, oil, and some fruits from the market. Full stop. Okay, you can see how I have used the comma to separate these items in one sentence. This is a whole sentence because this is where I have my full stop. So from the beginning with I to the end with the word market is a whole sentence. It is one sentence because it expresses complete thought. And then I have the full stop there. So all of this is just one sentence, just separated with the use of comma. The second example, my son was told to bring a blanket, sandwiches, cutlery, and a small flute for the picnic. So the listed items there are separated with commas. Blankets, sandwiches, cutlery, and a small flute. Just like what happened here, When I use this conjunction, I didn't use a comma. It has applied here too. When I use this conjunction, I don't need a comma. When I use and, which is a conjunction, I do not need a comma. So after and, I now added the last item on the list, which is a small flute for the picnic. This is a complete sentence, but it has been separated with commas. The items on the list are separated with commas. So a comma is used to separate items in a list or word groups. Another use of the comma is to separate two or more adjectives which qualify the same noun. To separate two or more adjectives which qualify the same noun. What is an adjective? Remember, an adjective is a word which qualify or modify a noun or a pronoun in a sentence. An adjective is a word which qualify or modify or describe a noun or pronoun in a sentence. So when we use more than one adjective to describe or to qualify a noun or a pronoun in a sentence, we use the comma to separate those adjectives. Example, the first one is, Michael Jackson was a wonderful, good-looking, popular musician. Michael Jackson was a wonderful, good-looking, popular musician. Okay, now what is the adjective? The first adjective we have in this sentence is wonderful, the second one is good-looking, and the third one is popular. Have you seen that? Now I can as well say Michael Jackson was a wonderful musician, full stop. That is an adjective in that sentence, wonderful. I can say Michael Jackson was a good-looking musician. It's okay. Michael Jackson was a popular musician. It's okay. But I have more than one adjective in this sentence. So since I have more than one adjective, I'll separate them with the use of comma. So I have wonderful, comma, good-looking, comma, and popular musician. Now after the last adjective, there should be no comma. After the last adjective, there should be no comma. So Michael Jackson was a wonderful, good-looking, popular musician. You can as well say Michael Jackson was a wonderful, good-looking, and popular musician. So when you use and, there will be no need for the comma. The second example is, my uncle is a handsome, hard-working, brilliant teacher. My uncle is a handsome, hard-working, brilliant teacher. We have handsome, hard-working, and brilliant as adjectives. So we use comma to separate them. Handsome, comma, hard-working, comma, and then brilliant. Remember I said after the last adjective, there should be no comma. There should be no comma after the last adjective. So the comma is used to separate two or more adjectives which qualify the same noun. When you're describing one noun and you're using more than one adjective, you use the comma to separate those adjectives. Then we also have the third example I have here. I shall wear my beautiful red pleated dress to the party. I shall wear my beautiful red pleated dress to the party. Beautiful, red, and pleated are all adjectives. So you use comma to separate them. So the comma is used to separate one, two or more adjectives which qualify the same noun. Remember, when you are using more than one adjective, use the comma to separate them to qualify the same noun. Now, the comma is also used to separate phrases or clauses. The comma is also used to separate phrases or clauses. Remember, we said it, that the comma is used to divide a sentence. The comma is used to divide a sentence. So when you have a full sentence and then you want to show a pause. You want to show a pause or pauses where you have stopped slightly, you use the comma. So it is used to separate phrases or clauses and make where it exists in a sentence. For example, I have Okocha dribbled the ball past two defenders, stumbled slightly, raised the ball, and scored Nigeria's only goal of the match. Okocha dribbled the ball past two defenders, stumbled slightly, raised the ball, and scored Nigeria's only goal of the match. So you see we have used comma to separate the clauses and the phrases, like raise the ball, stumble slightly, pass two defenders. We have used commas there to show the actions that Okocha carried out before scoring the goal. The second example, the boy got out of bed, stretched, opened the windows, and went down to the kitchen for breakfast. The boy got out of bed, stretched, opened the windows, and went down to the kitchen for breakfast. So we have all of these actions that were carried out. There is a comma. So we have commas there to show the pause of what happened in the sentence. Remember that this is one sentence, only showing pauses with the comma. So the comma is used to separate phrases or clauses. Now the comma is also used to separate a tag question from the rest of the statement. When this is talking about question tags. When we have question tag, we'll have a statement, we have the tag question, and then we also have the answer tag. So we'll use the comma to separate the statement from the question tag. We use the comma to separate the statement from the tag. For example, we have she is pretty. That is the statement. Now the tag is isn't she. We have a comma there before the tag. She is pretty is a statement. The tag is isn't she. There is a comma there before the tag. Then we have I am fast. I am fast. Aren't I? There is a comma there before the tag. Your mother is not home, comma. Is she? Your mother is not home is a statement. Is she is the tag. So the comma is used to separate the statement from the tag. The comma is used to separate the statement from the tag, or from the comma is used to separate the question tag or the tag from the rest of the statement, just as we have in these examples. Now, the comma is also used before a direct speech or a short quotation. The comma is also used before a direct speech or a short quotation. We've talked about direct and indirect speeches, so you can refer to your notes where we have sentences. You see the comma. The girl grumbled and said, this is the direct speech now. I wish I had prepared well for the examination. The girl grumbled and said, I wish I had prepared well for the examination. Remember, we said that when you're writing what somebody said, the way the person said it, it is called direct speech, and you have to put it in quotation marks. So when we want to write those words, the direct speech, the way the person said it, to put it in quotation marks, we have to separate the reporting utterance from the direct speech. We have to separate the reporting utterance, which is the girl grumbled and said, from the direct speech. So we have comma there. We use the comma to separate it. So we use comma before we write a direct speech or a direct quotation. The second example is, the boy shouted, the bus is here. The boy shouted, comma, the bus is here. That is in quotes. So we use the comma to separate reporting utterance from direct speech. The third type of punctuation mark is the question mark. The question mark. Remember, when I started with the full stop, I said that there are three terminal marks. And terminal marks means a mark that ends a statement, a mark that ends a sentence. So the question mark is also a terminal mark, but it is used to end an interrogative sentence. That means the sentence that asks a question. The question mark is used to end an interrogative sentence, which interrogative sentence is that kind of sentence that asks a question. Okay, let's see examples here. We have, where do you live? That is a question. So we have the question mark there. Where do you live? That is the question mark, and this is how to write the question mark correctly. Take note. This is how to write the question mark correctly. We use it to end sentences that ask question, like interrogative sentences. Where do you live? The second example is, when did Nigeria become a republic? When did Nigeria become a republic? May I use your pen? May I use your pen? That is a question for permission. So the question mark is used to end a sentence that asks a question. That's why we call it a question mark. It's used to end a sentence that asks a question. Then the next type of punctuation mark is a semicolon. A semicolon. The semicolon is used to mark a pause that is longer than a comma but shorter than a full stop. When you make a pause while talking, and then the pause is stays longer than the comma, but it's not the end of the sentence, you use the semicolon. And this is how to write a semicolon. We have the full stop at the top, and then below the full stop we have the comma. This is how to write the semicolon. Take note, don't mix it up with the colon, okay? Take note, this is how to write a semicolon. It is used to separate two sentences that are closely connected in meaning. It is used to separate two sentences that are closely connected in meaning. Examples we have: some people are afraid of flying on planes. Personally, I find traveling on plane most interesting. Now, this sentence, these two statements are closely related because they are both talking about traveling by air, that is flying on a plane. So the first one says, some people are afraid of flying on planes. And then I have a semicolon here. Personally, I find traveling on plane most interesting. Okay, so these two statements are closely related. So we use the semicolon and then we add the other statement to make it just one sentence, So when we use the semicolon, the pause we use there while speaking is longer than a comma, but it is shorter than a full stop because we don't want it to be the end of the sentence. And we are introducing another sentence there to make it all one sentence. That's why we have the colon here, the semicolon here. So the next example is, to err is human, to forgive is divine. To err is human, to forgive is divine. We have the semicolon after human, and then to forgive is divine. They are closely related. Err means to offend. To err is human, that means to offend somebody. It's normal with human being, but to forgive that person, you need a divine grace to forgive. So to err is human, to forgive is divine. They are closely related. So we have the semicolon there to show us that they are related. Now we have the colon. Like I said, that you should not mix up the colon with the semicolon. The colon has two dots, one up and one down. So we have two full stops to make a colon. The colon is similar to the semicolon. It suggests that what follows is an explanation of what goes before it. So when you say something and you want to explain more, you use the colon. When you say one thing and then you want to give more explanation on that thing, you use the colon. For example, I have Okonkwo's achievements rested on three things. Okonkwo's achievements rested on three things, and then I have a colon. Now I want to explain those three things that Okonkwo's achievements rested on. That is why I have this colon. First, he defeated Amalinze the cat. Then he worked hard. This was followed by his challenge to the white man's culture. So you can see that I have listed the three things that his achievements rested on. So that is why I used colon after telling you that Okonkwo's achievement rested on three things. And then to explain what it means, I used the colon. That is why we say that it is used to suggest what follows after what you have written already. You suggest what follows is an explanation of what goes before it. This came first. Okonkwo's achievements rested on three things. And then what follows is he defeated and maligned the cat, then he worked hard, and then this was followed by his challenge to the white man's culture. So when you try to list out things to explain what you have written before, you use the semicolon. The semicolon is also used to introduce a list, like I said, when you are listing out things. For example, I have the candidates failed the following subjects. The candidates failed the following subjects. Now I want to list the subjects the candidates failed. Biology, physics, and chemistry. Biology, physics, and chemistry. So these are the subjects the candidates failed. It is used to introduce a list. Another example, you should come with the following items. Introducing a list of the items you should come with: a pencil, a ruler, a pen, and an exercise book. You should come with the following items, and I want to introduce a list of the items I want you to come with. So I use the colon: a pencil, a ruler, a pen, and an exercise book. Okay. Now, number 6, we have the quotation marks. The quotation marks come in pair. That means open and close quotation marks. And it can be written this way. We have 2 here, 2 here, and then 2 behind. 2 here to open the quoted sentence or the quoted statement, and then 2 here to close it. Or you could use 1 at the beginning and 1 at the end, but they are always used in pairs. When you open it, you have to close it. When you open it, do not forget to close it. Now when you open with this, please close with this. Don't open with this and close with this. Open with this and close with this, or you open with this and close with this. In other words, you should either use this pair or you use this pair. In one instance, you should either use this pair or you use this pair. If you're writing, if you're making a write-up and you want to use quotation marks, is either you use this or this. Do not mix them up. Do not use this in the first quotation and then the next quotation you want to use this. Either you pick this or you pick this pair to use. So quotation marks are used in pairs to separate words usually spoken by someone from the remainder of a sentence. That is to separate direct speech from other statements. In other words, they are used to enclose direct speech or other quoted materials and the accompanying punctuation. They are used to enclose direct speech. We have done direct speech. When you are saying something exactly the way the person said it, you have to put it in quotation. And when you open the quotation, you should also remember to close the quotation. So that is called, these are called quotation mark: open, open and close, open and close. Example: did you come with your parents? Did you come with your parents? Now take note of this. The question mark is inside before you close the quotation, because this question mark is part of this statement. It's part of this. So did you come with your parents? And then you have a question mark before you now close the quotation. So you started with this and you should end with this. Don't start with this and then go on to end with just single one. Make sure you start with this and then you end with it. Did you come with your parents? The principal asks. The next one is, yes, I did. The boy answered. Yes, I did. The boy answered. We have the quotation mark open here and close here for direct speech. When you want to write it exactly the way the person said it, you have to use quotation marks. And the quotation marks will separate the direct speech from the reporting utterance or from other words in the sentence. Now, the quotation mark is also used to draw attention to a word that is abnormal for the situation. If you have a situation and then the word that is used in that statement is abnormal for the situation. For example, you broke a dish and then your mother comes in and says, wow, you broke that dish, you're a very good girl. for breaking that dish. Very good girl there is not appropriate because what you did is not a very good thing. So you have to put that in quotation. That's what I mean by abnormal for the situation. For example, I have Mary's father was so angry at her performance in the last examination that he promised her a special gift. Mary's father was so angry. Now, when someone who is angry promises to give you a special gift, that is very suspicious. That is very abnormal. So if he was happy, it would have been very normal for the situation. But because he was angry, so giving Mary a special gift is abnormal. So we now use quotation mark to enclose the special gift because that is abnormal for that situation. So special gift is put in quotation, open and close. Another example is breaking rules and regulation makes you a very patriotic citizen. Breaking rules and regulation makes you a very patriotic citizen. So when you break rules and regulation, it doesn't make you a good citizen or a patriotic citizen. So that is abnormal for that situation or for that statement. So patriotic citizen is written in quotes, open and close quotation marks. So quotation marks draws attention to a word that is not normal for that situation or that is abnormal for that situation. We also use quotation marks to enclose the titles of poems, of plays, of articles, of books. For example, the title of our drama text is The Rejected Child. The title of our drama text is The Rejected Child. So the rejected child is written in quotes. We use quotation mark, open and close for it. The next one is the title of the columnist article is How to Improve the Country's Economy, in quotes, because it is exactly the way it is written. You've not added anything, that is why we have it in quotes. So you use it to enclose the titles of poems, articles, books, and plays. When we say enclose, what we mean by enclose is you open and then you close the quotation mark. That is what I mean by enclose. You open and then you close the quotation mark. We have examples there, like I've said. The title of our drama text is The Rejected Child, open quotation mark here, and then close the quotation mark here. That is what we mean by enclose. Now, having completed all that we have on our aim or goals for this lesson, as an assignment or an evaluation, you answer this. What is punctuation? List 3 punctuation marks and their uses that we have learned in this lesson. 3 punctuation marks and their uses you have learned in this lesson. State the difference between the colon and the semicolon. That means you should tell me what the colon does and what the semicolon does, even if they look similar. What the colon does and then what the semicolon does. Now you will also go to your English textbook, New Concept English Studies for Junior Secondary Schools 1, Unit 18, pages 219 to 220. There is an exercise there. You work on it from number 1 to 10 in your notebook. I do hope that you have complete notes, and all of these lessons, you have them all in your notes. Please take notes, do that assignment. You start from the first one, what is punctuation, and then the last one is using your textbook. Answer those questions from number 1 to 10. When you open to these pages, you will see it, the exercise there, number 1 to 10. So thank you very much for listening, and do have a nice day.